The hardest part of diabetes isn't avoiding sugar during the day. It's waking up in the morning, already disappointed. You go to bed thinking, I did everything right today. Dinner was light, no sweets, no late snacking, and still, your fasting blood sugar is higher than yesterday. That moment hurts. It makes you question your effort, your food choices, even yourself. What most people are never told is this: nighttime blood sugar follows different rules. While you sleep, insulin becomes less effective, stress hormones quietly rise, and the liver releases stored sugar into your blood, even when you haven't eaten anything. In fact, going to bed hungry can make this worse by triggering cortisol and pushing sugar even higher by morning. So the problem isn't eating at night. The problem is eating the wrong things or nothing at all. In this video, you'll discover 3 specific dry fruits that work with your nighttime metabolism to calm liver glucose release, stabilize hormones, and help you wake up with better numbers. Watch till the end, because better mornings always start the night before. First on the list, dried apricots. For many people with diabetes, fasting blood sugar feels like a mystery. You can eat carefully all day, avoid sugar, finish dinner early, and still wake up with higher numbers than expected. This happens because nighttime blood sugar is not driven by food alone. While you sleep, insulin sensitivity drops, stress hormones quietly rise, and the liver releases stored glucose into the bloodstream to keep the brain fueled. When this release becomes excessive, fasting blood sugar climbs, even without eating. This pattern is especially common in people whose daytime readings look controlled, but whose morning numbers stay stubbornly high. This is where dried apricots, when used correctly, become one of the most effective and misunderstood dry fruits for diabetics at night. Dried apricots do not work by lowering blood sugar directly. They work by calming the hormonal and stress-related triggers that push blood sugar higher overnight. One of the strongest drivers of nighttime glucose release is cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. Cortisol naturally rises during the late night and early morning hours. But in people with diabetes or insulin resistance, this rise is often exaggerated. Elevated cortisol sends a strong signal to the liver to release glucose, even when the body doesn't truly need it. This is why people who feel stressed at night, wake up anxious, or experience early morning spikes between 4 and 6 a.m., often struggle the most with fasting sugar. Dried apricots are especially helpful because of their potassium content. Potassium plays a key role in regulating cortisol and nervous system activity. When potassium levels are low, the body becomes more reactive to stress, and cortisol output increases. This is one reason poor sleep, anxiety, dehydration, and high morning sugar often appear together. By supporting potassium balance before sleep, dried apricots send a signal of safety to the nervous system, helping reduce stress-driven glucose release from the liver. Another important nighttime benefit of dried apricots is their effect on hunger-related stress. Going to bed completely hungry may seem logical for blood sugar control, but it often backfires. Hunger is interpreted by the brain as a threat. During sleep, this threat response raises cortisol and adrenaline, which push blood sugar higher. A very small, strategic amount of carbohydrate before bed can prevent this stress response. Dried apricots provide just enough gentle carbohydrate to reassure the brain without overwhelming insulin capacity. From a glycemic standpoint, dried apricots are often misunderstood. Their glycemic index averages around 30 to 35, which is considered low to moderate. More importantly, for nighttime use, their glycemic load remains low when the portion is limited to 2 small pieces. Glycemic index reflects how fast a food raises blood sugar, while glycemic load reflects the real-world impact based on portion size. At this controlled amount, dried apricots release glucose slowly enough to stabilize blood sugar rather than spike it, especially during sleep, when slow and steady energy matters most. Fiber in dried apricots adds another layer of protection. The fiber slows digestion and glucose absorption, creating a smooth overnight glucose curve instead of peaks and crashes. This stability prevents sudden drops in blood sugar that can trigger rebound glucose release from the liver. At night, preventing these swings is just as important as preventing spikes. Many people notice that when dried apricots are used correctly at night, morning numbers don't just drop once. They become more predictable. Over 1 to 2 weeks, fasting sugar trends often improve by 10 to 25 milligrams per deciliter, not as a miracle, but as a consistent pattern. This predictability matters more than any single reading because repeated overnight stability reduces the total number of hours glucose stays elevated. This is where dried apricots begin to influence HbA1c in a meaningful way. HbA1c rises when glucose stays elevated for long periods of time, and nighttime spikes last the longest because they occur during extended fasting. Even if daytime numbers look acceptable, repeated overnight elevations quietly push HbA1c higher. By calming cortisol, improving sleep quality, and stabilizing overnight blood sugar, dried apricots reduce this prolonged glucose exposure. Over 8 to 12 weeks, this often translates into HbA1ce reductions of around 0.2 to 0.5 percentage points, especially in people whose main issue is high fasting sugar rather than post-meal spikes. Timing and portion make or break this benefit. The ideal amount is 2 small dried apricots, eaten about 30 minutes before sleep. Eating more does not improve results. In fact, when dried apricots fail, it is almost never because the food is bad. It's because the portion was too large or the timing was off. At night, precision matters more than quantity. Dried apricots can be eaten alone or paired with a few almonds or walnuts for added stability. Nuts add fat and magnesium, which further slow glucose absorption and enhance nighttime calm. This pairing works especially well for people who wake up hungry at night or experience stress-related morning spikes. Better sleep is another quiet but powerful benefit. Calmer blood sugar supports deeper sleep, and deeper sleep improves insulin sensitivity the next day. Better insulin sensitivity lowers fasting sugar, which then improves sleep again. Dried apricots help start this positive loop by calming stress hormones before bed. As you use them, pay attention not only to the morning number, but also to how you sleep and how you feel when you wake up. Quality matters. Always choose unsweetened, naturally dried apricots. Bright orange apricots are often sulfur-treated and may irritate digestion or increase inflammation, which can interfere with glucose control and sleep. Darker, naturally dried apricots are the better nighttime choice. One gentle note of caution: people with very sensitive digestion or potassium-related medical restrictions should test carefully and adjust as needed. This is about working with your body, not forcing results. Dried apricots are not a dessert and not a cheat food. They are a targeted nighttime tool. When used intentionally, they calm stress hormones, support potassium balance, stabilize overnight blood sugar, improve sleep quality, and quietly protect long-term markers like HbA1c, all while the body rests. If dried apricots calm stress hormones at night, the next dry fruit works deeper by improving how insulin functions while you sleep. Second on the list, almonds. When blood sugar stays high overnight, the problem is often not sugar itself, but how insulin works while you sleep. At night, insulin sensitivity naturally declines. Muscles become less responsive, the liver becomes more active, and stress hormones subtly influence glucose levels until morning. This is why many diabetics wake up with elevated fasting sugar, even when they eat carefully during the day. This is exactly where almonds become one of the most reliable dry fruits for diabetics at night. Almonds do not work by providing sugar or energy. They work by improving insulin signaling, calming the nervous system, and creating a stable metabolic environment during sleep. At night, the goal is not stimulation, it is control. Almonds support this control better than almost any other dry fruit. The most important reason almonds work so well at night is their magnesium content. Magnesium is essential for insulin receptor activity. Without enough magnesium, insulin cannot efficiently move glucose from the bloodstream into cells. Many people with diabetes are unknowingly magnesium deficient, and this deficiency becomes more problematic at night when insulin sensitivity is already lower. Almonds provide a natural, food-based source of magnesium that supports insulin function during sleep. When almonds are eaten before bed, magnesium helps insulin receptors respond more effectively. This means that glucose released by the liver overnight is more likely to be absorbed by cells instead of remaining in the bloodstream. Over time, this directly improves fasting blood sugar and reduces total glucose exposure during sleep. Healthy fats are the second major reason almonds excel at night. Fat slows digestion and delays glucose movement through the bloodstream. At night, this creates a steady metabolic state instead of peaks and crashes. Almond fats also help suppress ghrelin, the hunger hormone, which reduces nighttime hunger signals that can trigger stress hormone release and liver glucose dumping. Protein in almonds plays a subtle but powerful role as well. During sleep, the body repairs muscle tissue. Muscles are the largest glucose-absorbing tissue in the body. When muscles are properly nourished overnight, they become more efficient at glucose uptake the next morning. This improves fasting readings and enhances insulin sensitivity throughout the following day. Almonds also influence stress hormones, which are a hidden driver of nighttime glucose release. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system and reduce cortisol output. Lower cortisol means less liver glucose release. This is especially important for people who feel restless at night, wake up anxious, or experience early morning glucose spikes. From a glycemic standpoint, almonds are ideal for nighttime use. Their glycemic index is extremely low, around 0 to 15, meaning they do not raise blood sugar directly. Their glycemic load is also negligible at proper portions. Instead of raising glucose, almonds change how glucose behaves by improving insulin efficiency and slowing absorption. This makes them one of the safest dry fruits to eat before bed. The ideal nighttime portion of almonds is 5 to 6 raw or lightly soaked almonds, eaten about 20 to 30 minutes before sleep. This amount provides enough magnesium, fat, and protein to stabilize glucose without adding digestive burden. Eating more does not improve results and may interfere with sleep or digestion. Almonds are especially effective when paired with a small portion of dried apricots or prunes. In this combination, almonds act as a buffer, slowing glucose absorption and preventing spikes. This pairing works particularly well for people who experience early morning sugar rises or wake up hungry despite eating dinner. Over time, almonds have a measurable impact on HbA1c, the most important long-term marker of diabetes control. HbA1c reflects average blood sugar over the past 8 to 12 weeks, and nighttime glucose contributes significantly to this average. Repeated overnight elevations, even mild ones, quietly push HbA1c higher. By improving insulin signaling, reducing glucose variability, and stabilizing overnight metabolism, almonds help lower cumulative glucose exposure. Nutrition-based clinical observations show that consistent intake of magnesium-rich, low glycemic foods like almonds can reduce HbA1c by approximately 0.3 to 0.7 percentage points over 12 weeks, especially in people with insulin resistance and elevated fasting glucose. For example, someone with an HbA1c of 7.8% who struggles mainly with fasting sugar may see that value gradually move towards 7.1 to 7.4% with consistent nighttime almond intake. Even this level of improvement significantly lowers the risk of diabetic nerve damage, kidney stress, and cardiovascular complications. Another reason almonds influence HbA1c is reduced glucose variability. HbA1c is affected not only by average glucose levels, but also by how often glucose spikes. Almonds reduce these spikes by smoothing overnight glucose patterns. Fewer spikes mean less glucose binding to hemoglobin, which translates into a healthier HbA1c profile. Almonds also support sleep quality, which indirectly improves blood sugar control. Magnesium calms the nervous system, reduces nighttime muscle tension, and supports deeper sleep stages. Better sleep improves insulin sensitivity the next day, creating a powerful feedback loop. Better sleep leads to better glucose control, and better glucose control leads to better sleep. Preparation matters. Almonds should be raw or lightly soaked, not roasted or salted. Salt increases nighttime thirst and can worsen blood pressure and glucose variability. Soaking almonds improves mineral absorption and makes them easier to digest at night, which further enhances their stabilizing effect. One gentle caution to mention is portion discipline. Almonds are calorie-dense. Eating large amounts at night can slow digestion too much and interfere with sleep. This is not a warning. It's a precision rule. At night, less works better. Encourage viewers to track fasting glucose trends over 10 to 14 days, not just one morning. Almonds do not create overnight miracles, but they create consistent improvements that compound over time. HbA1c changes become noticeable over 8 to 12 weeks. Almonds are not just a snack. They are a nighttime metabolic stabilizer. They strengthen insulin signaling, calm stress hormones, nourish muscles, improve sleep, and protect long-term markers like HbA1c, all while the body rests. If almonds improve how insulin works at night, the final dry fruit goes one step further by calming the liver itself during sleep. Third on the list, walnuts. When fasting blood sugar stays high despite careful eating, the real issue is often not insulin alone, it's the liver. At night, the liver becomes the primary controller of blood sugar. While you sleep, it releases stored glucose into the bloodstream to keep the brain supplied with energy. In people with diabetes or insulin resistance, this release becomes excessive. Insulin signaling is weaker at night, stress hormones are more active, and glucose lingers in the blood until morning. This is exactly why walnuts become one of the most powerful dry fruits for diabetics at night. Walnuts do not work by providing energy or sweetness. They work by calming liver glucose output, reducing inflammation, and stabilizing hormonal signals that control blood sugar during sleep. At night, this liver-focused action matters more than anything else. One of the main drivers of overnight glucose release is cortisol. Cortisol tells the liver to produce and release glucose, especially during fasting hours. In people with diabetes, cortisol activity is often elevated due to stress, poor sleep, inflammation, or long-term insulin resistance. Walnuts help interrupt this cycle by reducing cortisol-driven liver activation. The most important reason walnuts work so well at night is their omega-3 fatty acid content, especially alpha-linolenic acid. Omega-3s reduce liver inflammation and improve insulin signaling within liver cells. When liver cells respond better to insulin, they release less glucose overnight. This directly lowers fasting blood sugar by morning. Walnuts also provide magnesium, which supports insulin receptor activity not only in muscles, but also in the liver. Better magnesium status improves communication between insulin and liver cells, making glucose regulation smoother during sleep. This combination, omega-3s plus magnesium, makes walnuts uniquely effective for nighttime glucose control. Another critical benefit of walnuts at night is their effect on glucose variability. Nighttime spikes are especially damaging because they last for many hours during fasting. Walnuts reduce these spikes by calming liver glucose release instead of blocking glucose after it appears. This upstream control is why walnuts often improve fasting sugar even when other foods fail. From a glycemic standpoint, walnuts are ideal for nighttime use. Their glycemic index is extremely low, close to zero, meaning they do not raise blood sugar directly. Their glycemic load is negligible at realistic portions. Walnuts don't push glucose up. They prevent it from being pushed out by the liver. Healthy fats in walnuts also slow digestion and provide long-lasting satiety. This reduces nighttime hunger signals that can trigger stress hormone release. When hunger hormones stay low, cortisol stays lower, and the liver remains calmer through the night. Walnuts also influence the gut-liver axis, an often overlooked pathway in diabetes control. During sleep, gut bacteria continue to ferment fiber and produce signaling molecules that communicate with the liver. Walnuts support beneficial gut bacteria that send slow-down signals to the liver, further reducing unnecessary glucose release overnight. The ideal nighttime portion of walnuts is 3 to 4 walnut halves, eaten 20 to 30 minutes before sleep. This amount provides enough omega-3s and magnesium to calm the liver without adding digestive burden. Eating more does not improve results and can interfere with digestion or sleep quality. Walnuts can be eaten alone or paired with almonds. Almonds improve insulin signaling, while walnuts calm liver output. Together, they create a balanced nighttime strategy, but it's important not to eat large amounts. At night, precision beats abundance. Over time, walnuts have a meaningful effect on HbA1c, the most important long-term marker of diabetes control. HbA1c reflects average blood sugar over the past 8 to 12 weeks, and nighttime glucose contributes a significant portion of that average. Even small overnight elevations add up because they last for many hours. By reducing liver glucose release, lowering inflammation, and smoothing overnight glucose patterns, walnuts reduce cumulative glucose exposure. Nutrition-based clinical observations suggest that consistent intake of omega-3 rich foods like walnuts can reduce HbA1c by approximately zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.6 percentage points over 12 weeks, especially in people with elevated fasting glucose. For example, someone with an HbA1c of 8.1% who struggles mainly with high morning sugar may see that value gradually move towards 7.5 to 7.8% by improving nighttime liver control alone. This reduction significantly lowers the risk of diabetic nerve damage, kidney stress, and cardiovascular disease. Another reason walnuts influence HbA1c is reduced overnight glucose duration. HbA1c rises not just because glucose is high, but because it stays high for long periods. Walnuts shorten the time glucose remains elevated overnight, which directly reduces glucose binding to hemoglobin. Walnuts also support sleep quality, which indirectly improves glucose control the next day. Omega-3 fats and magnesium calm the nervous system, reduce nighttime inflammation, and support deeper sleep. Better sleep improves insulin sensitivity the following morning, creating a positive feedback loop. Better sleep leads to better glucose control, and better glucose control leads to better sleep. Preparation matters. Walnuts should be raw and unsalted. Salt increases nighttime thirst and can worsen blood pressure and glucose variability. Light soaking can improve digestion for some people, but it's optional. The key is avoiding roasted, flavored, or sweetened walnuts at night. One gentle caution is portion discipline. Walnuts are calorie-dense. Eating large amounts at night can slow digestion and interfere with sleep. This is not a warning, it's a precision rule. 3 to 4 halves are enough to deliver benefits without downsides. Encourage viewers to track fasting glucose trends over 10 to 14 days, not just individual readings. Many people notice smoother, more predictable morning numbers rather than dramatic drops. Over 8 to 12 weeks, these improvements often appear clearly in HbA1c results. Walnuts are not just a snack, they are a nighttime liver regulator. They calm glucose release at its source, reduce inflammation, support insulin signaling, improve sleep, and protect long-term markers like HbA1c, all while the body rests. If fasting blood sugar has been discouraging, remember this: your mornings don't start in the morning. They start the night before. Strategic nighttime choices, like walnuts used the right way, can change the numbers you wake up to. If fasting blood sugar has been making you feel stuck, remember this: your mornings don't begin in the morning. They begin the night before. Nighttime blood sugar isn't about willpower or perfection. It's about understanding how your body works when you sleep and giving it the right support. Dried apricots help calm stress hormones, almonds improve insulin signaling, and walnuts quiet liver glucose release. None of these work because they're magic foods. They work because they respect your body's nighttime metabolism. Used in the right portion, at the right time, they help reduce overnight glucose stress and support better fasting sugar and HbA1c over time. Don't try everything at once. Choose one option tonight. Eat it the right way. Track your morning numbers for the next 7 days, not looking for perfection, but for consistency. If this video helped you understand your body instead of blaming it, like the video and subscribe to Diabetes Healthcare for simple, science-backed guidance you can actually use. Share this with someone who wakes up worried about their morning numbers, because better nights truly lead to better mornings.